Thank you for staying tuned. We'll begin this segment from the FMDQ Marketplace. For an update on the fixed income market, I'm being joined by Ramat Baba, Chief Dealer Fixed Income, FBN Quest Merchant Bank. Good morning, Ramat.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, could you do a quick summary of what transpired in the market on Monday?
Good morning.
Morning.
On Monday, I'll start with the money market. Activities remained really high. Liquidity was low at about 49 billion. That's because the FAC has not come into the system. As a result, we saw market trading at about between 16 and 18%, because there was a CBN SMIS auction, that's the second market intervention sales, and this constrained a lot of banks from accessing the CBN lending window freely as they ordinarily should. In the treasury bill space yesterday, prior to yesterday, that's last week, we've seen selling activity in the market more at the short end, and that's majorly because of liquidity. People are selling off to free up a bit of liquidity at the short end. Going into yesterday, there was a reversal. There was more buys on the short end, and that's because of the anticipation of FAC coming into the system. People started picking up bills to utilize liquidity coming in. 634 billion was approved for FAC, and that should be hitting the system today. For the mid to long end curve of the treasury bill space, those actually remained high. I think they trended up slightly, and that's because they were aligning with the OMO auction levels. For bonds, not much has really happened post the auctions last week. Sorry, the 30-year bond was the toast of all at the auction last week. It had subscription level of over 80 billion, and as a result, stop rate was 14.8%. Not much has really happened in the bond space really this week.
Okay, there will be a treasury bills auction that will be on Wednesday. What should we expect?
Okay, so Wednesday is a holiday. That's
so
the auction has been postponed to Thursday. Yes, I think 109 billion is on offer. Really, we think for the 91-day bill, we expect yields to drop slightly in response to liquidity. However, for the 182-day bill and the one-year paper, we actually expect them to probably align with OMO auction levels, because, of course, expectation is that since there's going to be maturity of about 62 billion and the FAC funds as well, CBN will be mopping up.
Our inflows from maturing OMO bill, that's FAC disbursement and bond coupon payments are expected this week, and you just mentioned that. So what will that mean for system liquidity for the week?
We expect a lot of liquidity to come into the system. That's both from OMO and then the FAC. Of course, CBN is going to come into the market again to mop up. That's the general expectation. So if there's no mop up today, that's for the FAC. There should be one on Thursday.
General outlook.
We expect yields to go up slightly for treasury bills, mid to long end of the curve.
What's the general outlook for the week?
Outlook for the week, we expect short end for treasury bills, short end to come lower as people utilize liquidity, available liquidity. For long end, since the CBN will continue to issue the mid and the long end OMO bills, expectation is that secondary markets will trade closer to the OMO level. So that's around almost 13% for the one-year paper and about 12.8% for the mid end.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Ramat Baba. Let's cross over now to the equities market and get a sense of how Tuesday's trading activities have kick-started. Let's talk to Temple. Hello, Temple. Good morning once again. Well, it's a new day. What is it looking like?
So things are looking good here in the markets. We're seeing the indices up by now by some 0.29% at about this time. We've seen some good volumes of transactions in the market as well as of value. In terms of the volume, we've seen some 25.4 million units of shares traded for an average value of some 486 million naira in the market. And we're seeing quite a number of sectors also looking good. You look at the oil and gas segment of the market, we're seeing some good performance in that area due to some good gains we're seeing on the counter of Forte Oil PLC. Forte Oil, yesterday closed at 33 naira, so it has moved on beyond that level right now. It's up by some 9% plus right now, 9.97% specifically. And of course, that tells you that there's a huge buy sentiment. I think yesterday this particular company actually went on bid. Joining that is Julius Berger, which is a construction heavyweight in the market as well, due to some good numbers posted in Q1 2019 on Julius Berger PLC. We're seeing some good reactions there. The company has actually posted some 70-something% rise in profits. We've also seen it closing yesterday at higher than 24 naira per share. So this is also helping this particular sector, even though we know that the sector right now, the industrial goods segment of the market is currently flat. We haven't seen any major movements in that regard. But if you look at the banking side of the market, things are really good there as well. We're seeing some of the tier 2 names really helping to drive up the performance in that sector. And that segment is currently up some 0.38% in the market. However, these companies that we've seen so far are the major companies that have one company-specific news around them one way or the other, and that is why we're seeing this level of sentiment around them. If you look at the likes of consumer goods segment of the market as well, you've got Dangote Flour, which has been in bid for close to a week right now, up at this point some 9.94% in the market. It tells you that this company is really on bid at this point in time. Of course, you know the news around that, the 130 billion naira binding offer coming from Olam PLC with Olam Nigeria Limited. With all of this attraction that we're seeing on the share price of Dangote Flour, it's likely to cross 18 naira today, and of course heading straight to the 26 naira 20 kobo that a lot of analysts and traders here have actually projected for the performance of this particular company. So basically this is what we're getting. In terms of the contribution we're seeing in the oil and gas sector, 11 PLC, which is also raking in some good gains, is also revving up the performance of that sector. So 40 Oil PLC and of course 11 PLC. And if you look at the plus or minus gains we've been seeing lately, or also around the share price of O&O PLC due to the debt reduction strategy that the company has been implementing, and of course the fact that we've seen a very impressive Q1 performance from that company, that's Q1 2019 performance, things will certainly be looking good today for the oil and gas sector of the market. We're not too certain of any form of any form of losses or any form of sell pressure in this sector for now, due to the fact that that sector currently has some low price stocks trading in that side of the market. And so what you will certainly have more, as well as what you realize on some other counters, there will be more bargain hunting, which is something that a lot of analysts have not totally ruled out from the market performance for today. Chimeze.
Well, thank you, Temple. You hang in there. I'm sure you have more update for us in the afternoon. Thank you, Temple. And that's it on today's show. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago.